let's go back to the basic idea of what is plot again. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets job in Longford. You know, that's your basic plot. Doesn't seem to be the most interesting plot at the moment. And if we're critical of it, we could say that it's missing some kind of heightened dramatic moment. But the truth is that any plot we could sit around, or I could sit around now and invent, in a sense already exists. There's a famous writer of Italian extraction, obviously, George Polti was his name, who wrote a book called, I think, The 49 Dramatic Situations, in which he tackled, as people once were wont to do, the entire works of Shakespeare, the Bible, the Greek mythology, etc., and boiled it all down to 49 plots. That was it. And if you talk to a Hollywood movie executive, he or she will tell you there's about 7 plots, that those 49 are only variations of a core group of 7. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets job in Longford, 1. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, 2, etc., etc., and it goes on from there. And this seems, when people who are starting to write story are starting to think in story form, when they encounter this idea that it all can be boiled down to these crude mechanics, they naturally resist it. But they often don't know why they resist it. And the reason is that when you're involved in story, either as the maker or as the appreciator, as the audience, you're not thinking about plot. You're thinking about character. Because if you don't connect to the characters, all the plot twists in the world will just seem contrived and dry and unaffecting. So we've put the cart here before the horse, as we have to do, because you must take blind alleys in the process of creative writing. You must start off, I'm going to write a great plot. Oh, I can't do this. I'm going to park my mental automobile here. I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to start looking for characters. And then I'm going to catch up and get back into the car where Johnny and Mary are waiting for me to come with characteristics for them. Because without those characteristics, they're going to just do one of the routine, identikit, cliche plots that are bamboozling us and destroying our ability to love and appreciate story every day on television. It's what telecommand does. It's what flickers, as we might call them, remote controls for the television are made for. Skimming through this stuff, we're waiting for character, not plot. On every station, something is exploding at every moment, and somebody who looks alarmingly like Bruce Willis is running to the rescue. But we want to see the character who's different. And if the character has a unique, identifying characteristic, we can follow him or her into the most mundane of situations, and the situation will be enlivened. So, for instance, those of us who are wearily old enough to appreciate the character of Lieutenant Columbo for all his sameness from chapter to chapter, from week to week, because his character is so well defined, we can imagine him not only in any detective story, and we're waiting, as we see what the criminal is like, we're waiting for the moment when he comes in, dirty, dishevelled, his clapped out car parked in the gravel outside, and we know he knows as he's walking in what's wrong here. But equally, we can, as Wim Wenders did in Wings of Desire, we can take the actor who played the character, Peter Falk, and we can work him into a story that has nothing to do with Columbo or detectives. And because his character is so well made, he will expand to become part of that plot. That's not just a trick, that's a kind of focus. That if you're not interested in people, you can't write stories. But if you're not interested in people, you wouldn't be trying to write stories in the first place.